Hi, everybody. It is the weekend edition of Proline. Al McMorty is with me. There's Jim Feist, and I'm Dave Cook, and we are glad to have you with us. Boy, it should be exciting this weekend as we move past the wild card round into the semifinals, the conference semifinals in the NFL. We get two outstanding games to look at, plus college basketball as well. We get some terrific special offers to tell you about as well. Why don't we begin with a college basketball game? Big 12 action, guys. Missouri taking on Texas A&M. Before I throw to you guys for your opinion, I'll throw in something here on my own. I had Missouri the other night against Nebraska and was disappointed with the result. Missouri won the game, and they were ahead the whole game. They just never expanded on their margin and didn't cover the spread. I thought they would. They were trying to avenge a loss in the Big 12 Conference Tournament last year to Nebraska. I've looked at this Nebraska team, and they don't seem very athletic, and I thought, while they're big, they're kind of slow and maybe a little bit dumpy, if you will. And I thought they're going to have trouble with the Missouri press. But they managed to hang in there. So it's a sign of, one of two things. Either Nebraska's a little better than I thought, which I'm still not sure is the case, or maybe Missouri's just not as good as the press clippings would indicate. They've had a couple of tough games recently. They did not play well at all last week in losing on the road. Managed to get the win over Nebraska, but weren't impressive in doing so. I got to tell you something. They're going to have to ramp it up a little bit if they want to get through College Station with a win. This Texas A&M team, even Mark Turgeon, their coach, has said that, he said, I didn't know how good we were going to be. We're kind of exceeding expectations. He's right. I think A&M was a team that was a little bit under the radar. The more you look at A&M, they get that tough defensive mindset. They can make some shots. They're very difficult at home. The number is going to be tough to overcome in this game because A&M is the favorite. And, Missouri is certainly a quality basketball team. But, from what I've seen recently, I think A&M is going to handle them here. Al, what do you think?
Well, you said a lot of what I was going to say. I'll just add a couple of points. Texas A&M has played a relatively weak schedule thus far. They have a nice win, a very impressive win over the Washington Huskies. They've defeated Temple. They're coming off that blowout win over Oklahoma State by 23 points, which was the most impressive game I think they've had all season. But they've still played a lot of, cream puffs at home this season. And I'm not sure I want to lay the points here with Texas A&M, but yet I'm not sure I want to go against them either. I mean, you take a look at this series, and Missouri is 0-9 against the spread the last 9 games versus the Aggies. And Texas A&M also does extremely well against teams with good win percentages over 600, 12-3 against the spread in that role. I think this is a good game for me to stay away from, as I really don't want to go against Texas A&M, especially since they're 9-0 against the spread versus Missouri. But I don't want to lay points to a very good Missouri team either. I'll pass on this game. Jim?
Well, I think the first thing I'd like to figure out is what kind of line are we looking at here? Obviously, we're doing this show a little bit before the lines come up. And you have an idea what numbers we're looking at?
Well, I would make Texas A&M probably around a 5-point favorite.
Yeah, I think because Missouri hasn't covered the last couple of games, you might get beat a little bit on that value. I think maybe it comes 6 in this game, possibly even 6.5.
My computer program makes this game, just overall games, and it takes into consideration the cream puffs and all the other things that Al mentioned, which is very valid. But then we look at some separate categories. When you look at Missouri, they're 19-40 in their last 59 road games against the spread. Pretty bad performance. Now, the other day, when you mentioned that game against Nebraska, I actually had Nebraska and took the points. Everybody in the world liked the other side. Missouri was a heavy played game by the services and the players. And I was kind of getting a little frustrated with it because I'd made it a bet early and the line kept going against me, giving me more value, which means everybody was disagreeing. So I'm starting to say, okay, what's going on with this game? Is there an injury or what is it that I don't know? I stuck with my game because I had to play in already and we did cover. Now, if you're looking at 5-6 points, A&M figures to be, in my computer program, a little bit bigger favorite than that, especially when you consider the home and away numbers. So, if what I'm going to basically say, if it's 5, I'm laying it. 8, I'm going to start thinking about the other side, but probably not doing anything. I'd probably lay 5. I don't think I'd lay any more than that. It certainly wouldn't. You could stretch me to 5.5, but I wouldn't go any higher.
Yeah, the one thing to remember, by the way, just as a general principle that I use in these conference games, I diminish the home court advantage by about 1 point, maybe 1.5 points per team when handicapping the games, because the other team is very familiar with the hostile surroundings, unless they're a team with all newcomers. And we've seen a ton of close conference games so far in the big leagues. So it's certainly something to consider going into this game. Before we look at San Diego State and New Mexico, Al, what do you got going this weekend? I know your Vegas strip moves all year long have been unbelievable. The Fortune 500 plays, big plays in the service, they've been sensational, and you're going to be pretty happy with the results.
Yeah, our biggest strip moves this season, I think we're 29-7 or thereabouts in football. Fortune 500 Club's been cashing tickets, all the big plays all season. This week in the NFL, we're featuring our Fortune 500 Club Game of the Year in the playoffs. It's only $19 for all callers. It's 866-896-1628. You can pay $500 online, or you can get our Fortune 500 Club NFL Playoff Game of the Year, just $19, and you can make the call 866-896-1628.
All right, and thank you for alerting me that I was apparently slouching too much in my seat. I do that. I'm old, I just had another birthday. All right, let's look at San Diego State, New Mexico.
I'm older than you, Dave. Shut up.
Yeah, I know. Who's that kid in the middle? San Diego State.
You remind me all the time.
San Diego State was that game against UNLV on Wednesday was about as ugly as it gets. It really was. It was a horrible game to watch. UNLV could have won the game, but they couldn't make a shot. I think they were 1 for 17 or something like that on their 3-point shots. They were even missing layups. San Diego State's entire game plan on offense, I know it's not really this. I mean, it's more sophisticated than this, but when you watch San Diego State play, it basically appears as though their game plan is bring the ball down the court, throw it off the glass, and then get the rebound and put it back in. They are incredibly athletic, big, strong, very physical basketball team. And they're loaded, and they're ranked number 6 in the nation right now. I don't want to say that I don't agree. I don't agree that they're the 6th best team in the country, and I think part of it is that it's just the X's and O's on Fisher's side. It's more of an athletic team than a smart basketball team. And I think it's going to get them in trouble someplace along the line. They actually should not have beaten UNLV the other night. As bad as UNLV shot the ball, it's still a 1-possession, 2-possession game going down to the last minute of the game. And that's what San Diego State murdering them on the boards. On paper, San Diego State should go into Albuquerque and beat New Mexico. The Lobos are not as good as they were last year. They could be down the road, but they haven't come together yet. But I think Alfred is going to have his team ready. I think San Diego State is off a big win, and it could be a dangerous spot for them on the road. It's really it's not a game I'm going to play because my power ratings say San Diego State wins the game. They're just better than New Mexico. My instincts tell me this may be a spot where San Diego State's, I guess you could call it sloppy play and lack of execution on offense gets them in trouble. So my gut feeling is that New Mexico is going to pull a mild upset here. The Mountain West, I got to tell you, Al, the top of the Mountain West doesn't get much attention nationally. It's really good. UNLV hasn't played that well, and yet they're still, believe me, they're a top 40 team for sure. San Diego State obviously is as well. And BYU might be the best team out of the whole bunch. BYU is really loaded this year. Al, what do you got on this game?
Well, I'm really happy for Steve Fisher that he's found a home down there in San Diego. it seems like those two schools are swapping coaches. Steve Fisher goes down there years ago. Now Brady Hoke makes the, trip up to Ann Arbor. And, Fisher's a great coach. He's got a great team. But I just think this is a terrible situation for San Diego State. And they fall into a negative system of mind. It's 92 and 153 against the spread going back to 1990. It won the other night with Minnesota over Purdue. It won back on Wednesday with Florida State over Duke and also Michigan over Ohio State. And the system's red hot. And what we want to do is fade a team that has a win percentage better than 900. If it's on the road, if it's at game 15 forward, and if our road team is off a win and now pick 'em or favored over a team with a strong home court. That is a team that's won at least 29 of its previous 40 games. And all of these criteria are met here, and I'm going to take the points with the small home dog. Jim, what are your thoughts?
Well, I think the information you just gave us, Al, is awesome. I like the home dog here as well. There are some factors that bother me about this. Of course, San Diego State being undefeated is one of them. They are very athletic, which Dave brought up. San Diego State is a kind of a slow down defensive bump up. They're 7-1 under the total. And in their last 9 road games, they're 7-1-1 against the spread, against a team with a winning home mark. San Diego State is also 16-5 ATS in their last 22 road games overall. Now, why do I like the home dog? Well, home dogs in these early conference games, when teams actually think that they have someplace to go and they haven't lost too much of their depth yet to injuries, are very dangerous. You mentioned Minnesota, you mentioned Florida State. This, in my thinking, without a system to support it until I just heard yours, the Lobos look like the side that I would want to take with the proper number. Now, what is the proper number? What are we looking at here? It all in college basketball, it comes down to numbers. I mean, just last night, I was at nine games on Wednesday. I was 7-2. Last night, I was 1-2. And the 2 games I lost were by a half point each. And I know Dave said something to me about that, too. This point spread in college basketball is a major concern. You just can't give away value in this sport. You got to shop for lines. You even have to buy numbers just to get situations going for you. Otherwise, at the end of the year, you're going to be sucking wind. But what is the number here, Dave? What do you think?
It's not going to be far from the pick'em range. I mean, San Diego State's got to be actually a little bit of a favorite, but they're going to be a small favorite in the basketball game. New Mexico's got a great reputation at home, which is well deserved. That Pit is, it's been refurbished, but it's still the Pit. It's a really tough place to play, and boy, this crowd's going to be fired up. And the odds maker's going to factor that in. There's no question about that. So I think this is a game where you got to pick the winner of the game if you want to get the money. That's the first criteria in this one.
My power ratings would have New Mexico favored. For the life of me, I don't think that's going to happen. I think that you're going to have San Diego State be a 1 or 2 point favorite on the road. But my power ratings actually have it being, New Mexico -1. So we'll have to see where the number comes. But I'm going to love New Mexico as a home dog here.
Should be a fun matchup. And the Mountain West, again, it's top of this conference. Stack them up against anybody. It's a really solid league. Before I get to the NFL, let me tell you what I got going. It is my big, I absolutely love one of the games this week in the NFL. And that's a word you don't often hear me use because I've been doing this for a long time. I'm in my 4th decade now of selling selections and was betting before that. So, you stop learning to overhype stuff. Because any game can do anything. That's the lesson you learn after a while. But that said, I absolutely love one of the NFL games this weekend. I think it's one of the best postseason plays I've seen in years. And nobody can convince me that I'm not going to have an easy win on this game. It's my NFL playoff game of the year. I'm going to sell it online for $50. Better idea is to do this. This is a really good offer. Call my office, 1-866-841-1665. I'll get you the game for $25. In addition to that, I'm going to get you all my basketball action plays, NBA and college, for the rest of January. So you're looking at in the neighborhood of about 30, maybe 35, 40 plays. And that's for $25. You got to be kidding. That's less than $1 a play. A chance to pick up some serious profits. And the main thing is you'll be getting that big game this weekend. Even if you're a small player, this is a really sound investment. 1-866-841-1665, NFL playoff game of the year, plus the rest of January's action in college and pro basketball. All right, let's head to the NFL. And I'll begin with you on the Packers and the Falcons. Green Bay, very solid win last week on the road. A lot of people think this is a team that, even though they're the 6th seed and the wild card in the NFL, could be playing the Super Bowl. The Falcons, a funny team. They don't have a lot of buzz about them, but all they do is win football games. They are the number 1 seed. They almost never lose at home. They already beat the Packers once this season. It's a compelling matchup. I think this is a fun football game to try and break down, and I can't wait to see it as well. What do you think is going to happen?
I think we're going to get a lot of points, Dave. I think this is going to be a very high-scoring game. Technically, that's also what my numbers say. The Green Bay Packers are now 82-54 over the total if they played an under the previous week. Green Bay is 34-18 over the total off back-to-back unders. The Atlanta Falcons 12-3 over the total when the line ranges from 43 to 49.5 points. Interestingly, the over-under line on this ball game is coming down, which in my mind creates much more value for us. I'm going to go over the number. Jim?
Well, it's interesting when the game first came out and I saw the lines and I was thinking about just playing it out of my mind how the game would be played. I was thinking, as you were, about the over. But then when I looked at the tendencies of both of these clubs, Green Bay has been an under machine, especially on the road, 1-8 over and unders for the whole year. I mean, out of 9 games, only 1 game has gone over. Now, when you add to the fact that this young man Starks, the running back, came in last week and had 123 yards, you add a running component to the Packers game that does nothing but slow down the scoring because they're going to be able to run the clock without incompletions, et cetera. So I think that's the reason. I'm trying to figure out why the line is coming down, because the game obviously looked like an over when you look at the other side of it, with Atlanta going over so many times at home this year. But when with the running component in there, and you put the nerves in there, with Atlanta being basically a brand new playoff club, not a lot of experience there on that side of the ball, and they like to run the ball. And then you throw in the good defense that this Green Bay Packer team has, allowing only 15 points per game on the year. I see why the number's coming down. And so I'm actually favoring the under. I actually think the Green Bay Packers will win this game. And I think they'll win it because they've played a very tough schedule this year. Aaron Rodgers and Matt Ryan, I give an edge to Rodgers in that spot. I think they have more diversity on offense. Their defense is obviously sound, as is Atlanta's. I think it's a really, really tough game. And if you're looking at 2.5, I'm suggesting people buy it to 3, take the 3, and I think you sit home at the end of the day and count your money. That's the side I like. As far as this an offer that I have, for $79, you can get the rest of the college basketball season executive and inner circle plays right through the championship game, which is a lot of plays from now to the end. $79 is really very inexpensive. Plus, you get a best bet winner from this weekend's NFL games, and all you have to do is call 1-866-841-1655. It's $79, inner circle executive plays all the way through the championship game, plus a big best bet winner this weekend in the NFL.
That's good stuff, Jim. Before we get to the Jets and Patriots, I guess I'll throw in my own quick take on this game. I really do like a side in this game quite a bit. It's interestingly enough not my NFL playoff game of the year, but it's the game I like second best this weekend. So I'm going to save that for the personal service clients. Of course, you could be one of those easily enough. But as far as the total goes, I got to tell you, I think the game looks like it ought to go over, but I have a feeling the two defenses stand up fairly big here, and I'm going to go with the under. I have a feeling that you're going to see more field goals than touchdowns in this game. Both teams knowing how to shut down drives at the finish, I guess you can say. And so it's more than anything more of a gut feeling. I can't, on the one hand, there's some technical stuff that says it ought to go over. On the other hand, looking at the way the teams are configured right now, maybe it goes under. Not a strong opinion on that, but I will favor the under in the game. By the way, a quick reminder, I don't think we've done this, but I will here. We have the Proline free pick phone, and they're free plays on tape every day. All you need to do is call that number. You can find out about special offers as well, 1-888-294-1970. Free plays on tape every day from the Proline gang. All right, let's look at the Jets and Patriots in Footgate. This is a blast. I mean, Wes Welker is talking about Rex Ryan's apparent videos out there with his wife. It's just one of the funniest things I've ever seen in terms of the football game almost taking a back seat to all this chatter.
Foot and mouth disease.
Yeah, it's just been one thing after another. But there is a football game to play on Sunday, and these two teams don't like each other. I mean, Jim, this is going to be a game that could live up to the hype. I mean, it's there's no love lost at all between these two teams. The Patriots just don't verbalize it as much.
The Patriots, there was an old saying, walk softly, carry a big stick. That would be Belichick and Brady. This other group is a whole other creature. I mean, you talk about inciting your opponent to want to absolutely rip your head off. Not just win, but rip your head off. It has to be Rex Ryan and Cromartie and all. I mean, what are you doing, guys? It's like if you didn't have their attention, you certainly have their attention now. So I guess they need to do this to build up their own confidence, which makes me wonder if you're that fragile and you need to build your confidence by running your mouth off and literally putting your foot up your butt, then there's something missing. Sanchez was horrible last week against the Colts. And if it wasn't for the Colts' deficiencies, they'd have gotten ripped. You're not going to run the football like that every week and get away with it. Some teams are going to shut you down, and Sanchez is going to have to perform. He did not perform like a playoff quarterback last week. He was horrible. They still won the game. A couple mistakes happened on the Colts side, and they were damaged. I give them credit for going to Indianapolis and winning. But I'm not thrilled that the Jets are as good as they think they are.
Now, you know what? I agree from this standpoint. First of all, I thought the Colts coaching staff did a poor job last week. I thought their clock management was deficient.
Horrible job.
Yeah, and you mark this one down. It's just a little 2011 prediction, assuming they play NFL football next year. Jim Caldwell could be a coach in the hot seat. I think this team's starting to decline, and he hasn't shown me that he can match what Tony Dungy did in terms of in-game strategy and just managing the little things. That's something to look at down the road. My take on this game is that the situation favors the Jets. They're a good football team, and when a team loses 45-3, the next time they face that opponent, chances are you're going to get a lot better performance. The problem is it's the Patriots they're going against, and this team is a monster. I don't think the bulletin board material means a damn thing, to tell you the truth. I don't think the Patriots care about that. The one problem, though, is that if they get a chance to score an extra touchdown, they will, just to stuff it up the Jets' behinds. I like the Jets in the game, plus the points. I don't think they can win straight up. But it's not a strong call. The 4 games that are out there this weekend, Al, this is my weakest opinion because, to be honest, the Patriots scare the hell out of me. It's that simple. They're that good.
Well, I hope that if they have the opportunity to score that extra touchdown to stick it up the New York Jets' butts, as you say, Dave, I hope it doesn't hurt me here because I like this ball game under the total. New England 10-1 under the total at home when playing with a week off. I think this is going to be a very defensive-oriented contest, and I'm going to take this under the total. And I pray we don't get any, up-your-butt last-second touchdowns here.
Let's pick each one of us pick one game and talk about.
The part about that is the line movement. The line movement did come down on that, Al. The 45 down to 44. So the betting public is actually agreeing with you.
Yeah, which you never like to see, but I still think there's value, and I would still take it under the total.
Interesting thing is, sometimes in the playoffs, I don't know how much it's betting public or, especially on totals, just sharp money because that movement was early. If it's on the day of the game and that movement takes place, it worries me a lot more than when it's happening 3 and 4 days in advance. Because those are sharp bettors that are stepping in and making those moves. So that line move doesn't bother me. It may indicate that there's a lot of good handicappers out there who are agreeing.
Well, and we talked about it last week.
Let me give you a reason that might be happening. Over the years, I've learned that in the beginning of the week, in bad weather cities, you're actually better off taking a lead with all the unders. It doesn't matter if you like it under or not. Just take a lead with all the unders. And you can always come back the other side.
Yep.
And buy numbers, tease games, whatever you want to do if it doesn't happen. But especially with the East Coast storms this week, how long will they linger? How bad will it be? What will the wind conditions be in New England? So you're betting the game under, hoping the bad weather hits, and you've got value. And if it doesn't happen, you can come back and bet it over. And you get a side on the game, or maybe even a middle if it hits. That's kind of a defensive move for a lot of big players. I do it a lot myself. But the game, if the Jets score and control the ball on the ground, it's a style game. If they control the ball on the ground, this easily could go under. They were able to pull that off last week against the Colts. However, the Colts are a very deficient team at this point, much more deficient than I thought they were going into that game. But even Peyton Manning's magic couldn't help them. But if the Jets can score, keep the ball on the ground, they can get anywhere near their average of 149 yards rushing per game, this could definitely be an under. But if you believe that the Patriots can stop the run, the Patriots can get the lead, extend the lead, because once they extend the lead to 2 scores, the running game for the Jets goes out the window. And now you got Sanchez probably completing as many passes to the Patriots as he does to the Jets. So now you got a monster score because they're going to be desperate. It's a playoff game. It's win or you go home. So it really is going to come down to the style of this game. What happens on that field? The plans going into it, I know the Jets are going to try to control the ball. Absolutely. That's their strength. They know they're deficient at quarterback, no matter what they say. You can't match up with Brady at that position. So it's all the style. Can they pull it off? Can they run the ball? Can they get, 4 yards per rush, 4.5 yards per rush like they averaged over the season? Or the Patriots are going to shut down that running game?
All right, guys, let's go through our best bets of the games we talked about this week. And a reminder to everybody about what we've got in terms of special offers. Jim, go right back to you because that $79 offer is absolutely incredible, the number of games you're going to get on this.
Well, yeah, you're looking at, what are you talking about, 2 months of basketball?
Wow.
It's incredible. Executive and inner circle winners from now to the end of the championship game for $79, plus you get a best bet winner this weekend in the NFL, which normally would be a $500 play. And it's all for, $79. just call 1-866-841-1655. We're going to knock out a lot of winners between now and the end of the hoop season. And you want to be there. You want to cash in. Maybe it's a little too early to build your bankroll for Christmas, but to build it for vacation in the summer. 1-866-841-1655.
Which of the games we talked about, which game would you put on top?
Well, it's really tough because I actually like some stuff here, but I'm going to say if you get A&M at 5, I think that's a good price. If you're getting New Mexico at home, I'd say +2 or 3. That's a good bet as well. And not knowing the numbers, I'm a numbers player in college basketball because you're not going to beat the line unless you beat the line before the game starts. And so I'd lay the 5 with A&M, and I'd take a 2 or 3 with New Mexico.
My best bet, I'm going to go with A&M. I will tell you that I probably won't play this game because I'm not in a real good. I had Missouri the other night, probably overpaid on the value, lost the game. I don't like getting involved in the revolving door where I play on a team and lose and then come back and play against them the next game. It just doesn't work out real well. But putting aside the Missouri-Nebraska result, I do think Missouri's got problems matching up with Texas A&M, and I don't know. I'm just not a huge Mike Anderson guy. When he's getting turnovers with that defense, he's a Nolan Richardson disciple. The 40 minutes of hell can be very effective. But when he's not getting the turnovers, there doesn't seem to be anything else that Missouri can do, especially on the road. Jim, I think you mentioned before how bad they've been against the spread on the road. It's been absolutely awful. Al, you had some technical stuff as well. I'm going to have to go the A&M side. The big play this weekend for me, NFL playoff game of the year, $25. I think it's a great play. I think it'll be an easy winner. You'll get that game, plus you'll get the rest of January's action in college and pro basketball. Probably looking at roughly 35 plays. Total cost $25. That includes the big game, 1-866-841-1665. Al, your best bet, and again, a recap of your special offer.
Yeah, my best bet's easy. It's New Mexico, against San Diego State. Terrific offer. Our Fortune 500 Club plays. We've won all the big games this football season, including our college football bowl game of the year, our bowl total of the year. That was the over in the Syracuse-Kansas State game, that game where the kids saluted at the end of the game. Still can't get over that. Well, this week we're featuring our Fortune 500 Club NFL playoff game of the year. It's being sold for $500 right now online, but you can get it by telephone for just $19. How easy is that? Call right now, toll free, 866-896-1628. Only $19. You get our Fortune 500 Club NFL playoff game of the year, 866-896-1628.
A reminder, we do the expanded version of Proline, this one, on the weekends, where we take a look at a whole bunch of games and break them down. But we also have the abridged version, if you will, of Proline each and every weekday. We're on for 10 to 15 minutes. We look at a couple of basketball games that are going on that evening, usually one in the NBA, one in college. So good reason to check out ProLineTV.com every single day for good information, stuff you can't get anyplace else in terms of insight, analysis, Al's technical database, which is just unbelievable. And again, check the website for Jim's Fast Facts. Still the gold standard as far as numbers that you can use every day for your own handicapping. It's all right here at ProLineTV.com. That's it, guys. We're out of here. So anything else?
See you tomorrow.
That's it. All right. Have a good weekend. Enjoy the football
games. Take care, guys, and good luck.
We'll talk to you on Monday. See ya.
Good luck, everybody.